There are literally thousands of things drivers can do to damage their trucks. But when I compiled this list, I came up with 5 of the worst things that I thought that would do expensive damage to the truck that were unnecessary and could be avoided with a little time and care. Number 1, crossing the battery cables. Now, if you're not paying attention, this is relatively easy to do. And in the wintertime, like it is now, all sorts of guys will have sat their trucks over the weekend or something like that and have to come and jump start their trucks. Or even if they're just installing their own batteries in a truck after switching out some dead ones. But you've got to be very careful that you hook the positives to the positive and the negatives to the negatives. Because if you cross those terminals in any one of a series of batteries that are in line and in series, you're going to do damage to the engine. Now, these new truck engines are specifically electronically designed to function. So if you damage them when you're crossing the wires, the damage is going to be severe. You'll screw up the electronic control module, you'll screw up some of the sensors. So you've got to be very careful when you're connecting batteries, hooking up batteries, or trying to jump start a truck, because you just can't cross them because the damage is easy to do and it's often extreme and very expensive. Now, if you're not comfortable with jump starting a truck, get someone like a towing service or somebody to do it for you, because it's cheaper than messing up the electronics in the engine. Number 2, mixing up the fuel tank with the DEF tank. Now, you wouldn't think this would happen, but it happens a lot lately with these new trucks and the new DEF fluid and all the new drivers out there. If you're not paying attention, you can be putting the wrong fluid into the wrong tank, and once it's in there, it's damn near impossible to get it out. And this happens a lot. You'd be surprised. There's a fleet I know of down south of here that recently bought 5 new Kenworths. 3 of those trucks went in for damage because the drivers had mixed up the fuel tank and the DEF tank. The repair on those trucks, brand new trucks, was over $17,000 a piece. And of course, there was no warranty on that, because that's just stupidity. So pay attention when you're fueling or when you're adding DEF fluid. Make damn sure you're putting it in the right tank. Number 3, abusing the driveline. Now, lots of you will see it on YouTube, guys doing speed shifting and power shifting, or you've seen these big hill pulls at Cameo de Nord or something like that, where these guys are just torquing on the trucks, and the trucks have got the front wheels coming off the ground. Or in this kind of weather, sometimes you spin your wheels and you wipe your feet, but you don't want to have those wheels spinning when the power lock is engaged, because you'll do damage. It's all right when they're not spinning, that's how it's supposed to be used, but you don't want to be constantly spinning your wheels with the power lock engaged, because that does damage. It generally takes out the power divider after a little while. So the drive lines in these trucks are not designed to take a whole lot of abuse. They make them light so the truck can scale more product. And that's part of the reason now you see the industry going towards automatic transmissions, because truck companies in the past have experienced so much driveline damage from guys that don't shift properly, or they just don't know how to shift, that they just got sick of absorbing the damage or replacing the clutches and gone to these automatic transmissions. But whatever you've got, automatic or manual, be gentle with the driveline. Don't spin the wheels, and take care of the truck. It's hard on the driveline. Number 4, it's wintertime, and they cover the road with salt, and these days a lot of the states use that chemical stuff and they spray it on the highways, and that stuff is highly corrosive. It's to the point where the departments of transportation in various states have determined that that stuff is damaging concrete overpasses on the highways. So imagine what that can do underneath your truck. It gets in the wiring, chews up the frame, it chews up the aluminum, it gets into the electronics. Stuff is highly corrosive. So you've got to regularly wash your truck in the wintertime, particularly the underneath, to get that stuff off, because it is so corrosive. Now, all sorts of the good truck washes have installed underneath sprays to do the undercarriage and stuff like that. I know it's a lot of money to wash the truck, especially when you're just going to go out and get it dirty shortly afterwards anyway. but it's worth it to get that stuff off the frame and everything like that, because corrosion is a huge expense in trucking, and that stuff is just multiplying it that much more. So wash your truck regularly and do the truck washes underneath wherever possible. Finally, number 5, you've all heard the expression, you get what you pay for. And that's particularly true when you're buying oils or grease or lubricants for your truck. So don't cheap out. Don't buy the cheap stuff, because God knows what they've done to refine it and process it. Sometimes it's so recycled, it's still got metal filings in the old stuff that they've recycled. I've been using Shell since 1984, never once had a problem, not ever. Now, I know company drivers don't necessarily get to choose what kind of oil or grease they use, but for owner-operators and lease operators, it's particularly important because you've got a huge investment in a truck and you want to take care of it. So don't cheap out and just buy the cheapest stuff you can to save a few bucks, because you'll pay the price down the road. Get the good stuff, you'll never regret it. It only takes a little bit of time and a little bit of caution and care and thinking things through to protect your truck. So be careful when you work on your truck or do anything to your truck, because you want the old girl to last as long as possible. They never quit at home. They always quit out in the middle of nowhere somewhere, and you don't want to be in that situation. If you take care of the truck, it'll take care of you, and you'll be able to get home every time. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you on the backhaul.